Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 277. And this afternoon, it will be episode 278. Well, today, kicking off with episode 277 first, and it's come to that time of the week, the end of the working week, and what a show we've got coming up for you today. We're going to be using the Pie Maker again, and to tell us more about that, joining me in the commentary box, a very good morning to Matt Brill.
Good morning, Barry. Thanks for having me back on this cracking Friday. It's a nice day out there today, Barry. The motorbike's out and about today. No more cars because the sun is shining. Yes, the good old pie maker, Barry. I think we're going to have, is it leftover spag bowl?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
because I told the staff to keep some for me in the bowl. So waste not, want not, ladies and gentlemen. And also today we're going to be elaborating on the phone manners, email, and also writing to the Prime Minister. So that's all coming up on today's show. And also today, how to control our mood swings. Well, we'll kick off with the mood swings first. Okay, control your mood swings. Speak to people nicely. Tell them what your problem is and how you or your partner or your family members are going to sort it out. And here's Matt now to open episode 277 with that.
Okay, so mood swings, Barry. Yes, the most important thing I think is to be prepared before you speak. Is to be, to think what you're going to say and to speak to someone the way that you'd like to be spoken to, Barry. I think that's very important to start with.
So don't just raise your voice because something is not going your way. That is very rude. We have spoken about this on many episodes we brought to you here on the show. Here's my offside.
Very true, Barry. If you're in that, if you speak to someone like we're speaking to each other now, we both know, and our viewers would know as well, that people would listen and take you more seriously than if we were yelling and screaming at each other, Barry.
Okay, like the other day, well, I did not yell or scream or have Matt or the person that was helping him. Here's Matt now.
Yes, so that's right. If we talk to each other in a nice, clear manner and calm manner, we can resolve any problem. And I truly believe that, Barry.
So we have started the show early today to make up for the lateness of last week's show where we started at lunchtime, but 7 days have gone and we are in a new Friday now. Here's Matt now.
That's right. Sometimes we have those days where things don't go according to plan. But the best thing is that Barry always keeps smiling and keeps going and knows that the next thing he's going to do is going to be better than the one before. So here we are on Friday week. We started off nice and early and we're ready to give our viewers a jam-packed show.
And also, we're going to be talking about hand hygiene here. And here it is there. Hand sanitizer there, ladies and gentlemen. So that will be coming up today also. Now, on Wednesday's show we talked about the chicken Kiev, and here's Matt to recap that for you now.
Good old chicken Kiev. So yes, obviously we need a chicken breast. What else do we need? The garlic, some butter, and I often use toothpicks, Barry, in the chicken Kiev. I'll let the viewers know why. Is because once I flatten my chicken breast and pound it out, I put my butter, garlic, and I even use a bit of herbs too, Barry, that were in the freezer that we pre-made before. I put that, pull out the little block, put it in the middle of my chicken breast, and I roll it up, and then I use the toothpicks it together so it stays together, Barry. And then you cook it in the oven or on the pan. It's up to our viewers.
Well, I think it's up. If it was me, I'd cook it in the oven.
Okay.
And cooking it in the oven is better. Here's Matt now.
Okay, in the oven, that's how you do it. Fine. Well, if I was going to do the oven like you suggest, Barry, I'd also put in some vegetables in another tray or something as well. So I'd make the most out of that oven because I think it's a bit of a waste of energy to put it in for only just a few Kievs. So you've got plenty of room in that oven. Put some nice veggies in there and have some roast veggies too to make it a nice dinner.
So we will also talk about vegetables today, and that's coming up on episode 278, coming up this afternoon. Here's Matt now.
Okay, so after the Kiev, what else have we got, Barry? We talked about our phone etiquette, our chicken Kiev. Was it the pie maker?
Yeah, we'll talk about that next.
Okay.
But we will take a quick break and be back with you in a moment. Welcome back to episode 277. I'm Barry Field with Matt Brown. The time is 27 minutes after 10 o'clock here, and we've still got plenty more to come on the show today. And now we're going to talk about phone manners, and welcome back to the studio, Matt.
Thank you, my friend Barry. Tell our viewers about you had a lovely phone call just now while we were in the break.
And phone manners, they must be professional, they must be polite, they must not be rude. Let's cross to Matt now for his comment on this.
Okay, yes. So first of all, like Barry and I always talk about, is to be nice and calm before you pick up the phone and dial your numbers, and also know what you're going to say in your head. So when the other person picks up the phone, is to introduce yourself and ask why you are calling. So I think if you're asking a cool, calm, and collective manner, Barry, like we always talk about, you're more likely to get the response and answer that you're after.
Okay, because if you go wham and slam the phone down and then walk off, stomp, 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 stomp. It's no good. Here's Matt now for this.
That's exactly right. That sounds like someone like a spoiled little brat, someone running away, throwing a hissy fit or temper tantrum, Barry, that they didn't get their own way. But why should they get their own way if they don't treat people with respect?
And it's the same if you can't have something that you like to watch. Don't go, oh, and then stomp, 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 because that is not the way to handle a situation, or even if you're having a shonky day in person or on the phone with someone. Now, getting back to phone manners, they are very important. We said this last week on the show, and we are recapping this now. Please have good phone manners. Okay, they don't cost anything. Here's Matt now to tell you this.
Exactly right, Barry. It don't cost you a cent. You know, they come for free. It all comes down to you. You have the choice. You can either be happy and address your question in a nice, cool, calm, collected manner, or you can be Mr. Aggro, who won't get any result from me or from my sidekick Barry.
Okay, because here's an example. If you say, "Oh, hello, I'd like to talk to so and so," the other person will say, "Well, good morning to you too. Here's my outsider."
It's always nice to introduce yourself and start off the conversation so the other person knows who they're speaking to. And that is the professional attitude that Barry and I like to take.
So we're going to, it's 10:30 now on the show. We're going to take a break and come back with the second half of episode 277. And during the break, we're going to be watching a camping a quick video. So
Cool.
we're gonna watch a video that Jack Absalom has done, and this time it's gonna be on the Birdsville track. So we will come back after the conference with the second half of episode 277, and then we will take a break and conclude that episode and talk about a wonderful recipe of the day, which will be leftover mince in the pie maker. So still plenty more coming up today on the show. Don't go away. We've got plenty more coming up. So stay where you are, ladies and gentlemen. It's the end of the working week. Here's Matt to tell you what's coming up.
Yeah, so coming up on our shows, Barry was talking about the Birdsville track, which is a famous road out there to a town in Birdsville in northern Queensland. So that'll be one of the topics up. Our good old pie maker is going to get some use. Going to sample that. Barry's going to have a nice mince little pie. We've got our phone etiquette to recap. And what else we got, Barry?
We're going to rush to the Prime Minister today.
Okay.
Too, so
watch out, PM. Barry's coming.
Watch out. So you are watching episode 277. Don't go away. And this program is proudly brought to you by Lenovo, the best quality equipment you could have. Welcome, Lenovo, to our program. Here's Matt now.
Yes, welcome Lenovo to our show. Thank you.
And if you want a great Lenovo product, all you've got to do is go online. They've got few computers with cameras so that you can make your own episodes and a video editor. So don't waste time changing batteries. It's all there. So like we say, it is time for a break. So time to watch a bit of the Birdsville track. So stay with us. And also, the 11 o'clock COVID update is coming up too. So if you're just tuning in, stay tuned because there's plenty more coming up. Here's Matt now.
We look forward to our viewers in this afternoon session. Till then.
Well, still got the rest of the morning to come up next.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I'm jumping way ahead with too many episodes down the track, Barry.
So, still plenty more coming up. So we will have more of episode 277. Stay with us. You are watching the Daily Raps in episode 277. Welcome back to episode 277. I'm Barry Finn with Matt Brown. It's 9 minutes to 11 on Friday morning. Now, during the break, we've been watching a clip called Jack Adams on the Birdsville track. Now, if you are going on a track, okay, you must pump your tires up to the right tire pressure and don't travel with uninflated tires or underinflated tires. And now here's Matt to open the second part of episode 277 with that.
That's exactly right, Barry. It's proper preparation before you go away with the tyre pressure. Make sure you've probably got some good tread on your tyres, but also as we learned from that show is to have a few extra 4 or 5 psi in the tyres, because it's actually the tyre wall that is more likely to pop than the actual tread on the tyre. So that's an interesting fun fact.
Now, Jack was driving around in a Mitsubishi Sigma station wagon. Now, when he arrived at Birdsville, which we'll get to shortly, to drive from Marie, which is in South Australia, he would have had to stop somewhere overnight, okay, because you cannot do the trip in one go. And he was doing a couple of a painting trip. Here's Matt now.
That's right. So he's living in a Mitsubishi Sigma, which to our viewers, it's the video was a good few years old. I'd say the 1980s, wouldn't it be, Barry? That one on YouTube.
Yes.
So it's an old Mitsubishi Sigma station wagon. So there was no 4-wheel drive mode. It would have been straight automatic or manual. And he would have
automatic.
It was an automatic, okay, and he would have taken an extra few tyres with him too, Barry, because the roads, as we just saw, there were no bitumen roads.
No, because like towards the end of the video, or at the very end, he had to take the tyres off, but we will get to that. Now, he stopped somewhere overnight, okay? He had to. He couldn't just do the trip bang, 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 bang. Otherwise, he would have nodded off and had an accident. He's Matt now.
Yeah, that's the. I remember the campaign they used to run, Barry, the old Stop, Revive, Survive. And I think he would have been doing that. He would have been making sure that he had enough rest and enough sleep to help him concentrate, which is really important when you're out there on the roads, especially in the bush. There's not much help around.
Now, when you are going on a trip, such as a painting trip, make sure you've got enough paint, a canvas, a painting board, okay, and things like that. Here's my offsider.
Yes, I think because he had the big, nice station wagon there, he would have had probably an easel in there as well, all these bits and pieces for painting. And I also saw, which was an important part, he had a nice big, looked like an Akubra hat on to keep the sun off him, because there's not much shade out there in the bush, is there, Barry?
No, there is not. So, always plan your trip well, okay? Make sure you check in at the police station to get an alert card, because that's important. Here's my offsider.
Yes, to let people know before you go where your destination is, where you're leaving from, so that way if you do come into any problems, there'll be help out there to find you. And that's where our 000 number, I would say, that people would call in and be able to get someone out there to you.
And also, fill out the details and sign your name. Here's my offsider.
Yeah, that was on the old chalkboard outside the police station. Some of those places out there in the bush probably could still have that, especially after hours, to fill in a logbook. So at least they know that someone's passing through, which is a great way to let someone know where you are and to try and keep you safe on your journey.
Well, we're going to take a quick break and watch the 11 o'clock COVID update, and we'll come back to you. So we will be back in a couple of minutes to continue this. Welcome back to the second part of episode 277. Time is nearly 10 past 11 here on this Friday morning with Matt Brown and Barry Fear. We've just heard that there were 1,284 cases, and that is not too bad, and 12 deaths. But we will not talk about that. Now, before we went to the break, we talked about preparing yourself for a painting trip, just like Jack Abson did. Now, in order for him to do that, he would have had to check in at the Murray police station and pick up an alert card, and here's Matt now open that segment about that.
Yeah, so safety when travelling, so especially going bush. So he would have been on a lot of dirt roads, and he would have been in areas that didn't have any cell reception, because this is the 1980s, not today. But if we were driving today to these situations, yes, you would let family members know. You would make sure you had your phone with you for cell reception, and if you knew you were going really off the beaten track, Barry, you would make sure that you took a satellite phone, so that way you would have all-round coverage in case something happened.
Okay, because it's no good going on a trip willy-nilly and thinking, OS. Here's Matt now.
Exactly right, because if you're out there and things go a bit pear-shaped, Barry, you want to make sure that you've had your preparation done before you leave.
Okay, always make sure that you've got your petrol in jerry cans, guys. Here's my offsider.
Yes, so you make sure your petrol gauge is working too, because if you think you filled it up when it's full before you left and you're taking your jerry cans, like Barry said, you could be in all sorts of trouble when you run out and you know you've still got a few hundred kilometres to go to the next petrol station.
Because you've got to remember, guys, there are no friendly service stations or mechanics out in the whoop. Here's Matt now.
That's it, Barry. You can be stuck out there. So the other important thing to take besides your petrol and your jerry cans is make sure you've got enough water, Barry, out there as well to drink. Because if you're abandoned out there with your car broken down, no cell reception, no passing traffic, you want to be able to make sure that you've got enough water to keep you alive.
And also, guys, if you happen to break down like Jack did towards the end of the video, make sure that you have a jack to remove all your tires. Here's Matt now.
That's it. You want to make sure you got your jack so you can change your spare tyres if you can. If your car's completely broken down, yes, the jack. So that's the proper preparation before you leave to make sure you have all your equipment there to help keep you alive.
Always make sure that you service your car before you leave. Because like I just said a moment ago, don't destroy that station wagon out thing, but nothing's gonna go wrong with it, because if your disc goes or there's a hole in your petrol tank and petrol starts oozing out everywhere, you are completely a goner. Here's my option.
Exactly right, Barry. So, yes, your car needs to get serviced before you go on any long trip, and let your mechanic, who's a professional, to make sure everything's in good working order.
So what Jack did was he drilled a hole in his petrol tank to demonstrate what to do if you get a hole in your petrol tank. Now what you do is you jack your car up, drill a hole in your petrol tank. Okay, this is in the bottom of the car. You get a bucket and your jerry can, okay? And then you make a dough out of the sand, mix it up into a nice strong dough, get a couple of flakes of soap, just some household soap or whatever, and then to stop the leak, you just bang it on the bottom and you should be right. Here's my offside.
Yeah, I didn't know that one, Barry. That's a bit more like MacGyver to me. Good old MacGyver. So I just learned something too, Barry. Thanks.
So here's what you do. Because what if you were 500 k's away and there were no petrol stations?
I'll be swearing, Barry.
So it's very important to be careful of your petrol and how far you are traveling. Here's my offside.
That's it. Know where your destination is and how many stops along the way. So that way you can plan where you need to stop and fill up. And if you need to get any new tyres or whatever you need for the car, that at least you're planned. It will save you a lot of headaches.
So if you are camping out in the bush, make sure you've got all your supplies like your swag, your camp chair, and your billy and your cooking equipment. Here's my offside.
Yeah, that's very important, Barry. You want to make sure you've got all that and some food, some water, and something to keep you warm, because in the Australian bush it can be really, really hot during the day. You get it's up to about 40 degrees, and then at night it can get below freezing in some parts. So, yes, you've got to bring your winter stuff as well to keep you warm at night.
And in summer, if you go to Birdsville in the summer, guys, you will need to have flannelette sheet, I think.
Okay. You heard it first on the Barry Fear program.
So know what is good for winter and summer if you go away. And consider the conditions of the road too. Because if it's been raining heavily for a couple of days and you get bogged, that is it. You are completely kaput. Here's my oxide.
That's right, Barry. And looking at his car, it was the 1980s. The YouTube clip we were watching, he would be in serious dire straits. There's no four-wheel drive. There was no winch, no tracks to help get him out, no spades, nothing, Barry. So he would be, he'd be stressing.
Completely gone because you've got to know, guys, what conditions the road is in, because if you know that the road is not feasible for a Mitsubishi Sigma and a station wagon, don't try to go on that road and get bogged, because you could not only do damage to the tires, but you can easily overturn the vehicle. Here's my oxide.
That's right. And the worst of all things is you're going to break down and be stuck in the middle of nowhere, and you're going to be in dire straits, Barry. You're going to be wishing you packed all those extra things and did your homework before you left.
And never allow children to play with never store petrol in ice cream containers. That is dangerous. Here's my oxide.
Okay, so yeah, petrol either goes straight in the car's tank or into a safety PET bottle that's provided at your local gas stations or garages that can contain the petrol, and lock it away safely, Gary.
And put your petrol in jerry cans, not ice cream containers where the children can get at it. Okay, another thing. Okay, you must know what to burn in the morning and at night if you do happen to break down, just like that person did. Here's Matt now.
Yes, he did break down. So what was his way of doing it back in the 80s, Barry? Because obviously they didn't have phones back then. So what did he do to stay alive?
He burned a tube in the morning and a tire in the afternoon to send up smoke. Here's Matt now.
Exactly right. So that was his way of surviving, because he thought there's got to be a cattle station around there, and most farmers come out early in the morning to have a look and see if there's any rain clouds. So burn the tube in the inner tube in the morning, and at night or dusk when the cattlemen or farmers are coming back, he would burn a tyre so they could see the black smoke and hopefully alert them to his whereabouts.
So you've got to make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you are prepared and have a first aid kit too, in case you get injured. Here's my oxide.
Most definitely, Barry. That would be one of the first things on the checklist to be putting in your car or your caravan before you went away. That would be a must for all our viewers.
So don't just not pack the essentials. You've got to be prepared, and you've got to have enough food to survive you the whole trip, and have enough petrol to survive the whole trip too. Here's my offsider.
That's right. Just don't, and the water, guys. Don't forget the water and a bit of sun protection as well.
And sun cream too. And what you've got to do, make sure your battery is good too. Here's my offsider.
Well, that's it. I was just thinking when you said battery, I'm thinking of batteries as well. For the torches at night, because being out in the bush, you don't know your surroundings, and it definitely will help having a nice torch with some fresh batteries in your day.
So you have to know what to expect, because if you are a long way from home, okay, write down a list of what you need to do. Ask yourself, have I got a map? Which is the best route to take? The roads. How long is it going to take you to get from Murray to Birdsville in Queensland? We had a look on a map before the break. Here's Matt now.
That's right. On that particular journey, it was about 9 hours and 9 minutes, and doing all those checklists and safety checks that Barry has alerted our viewers. I would like to think that about 99% of people would have no problem making it to their destination if they follow through with those great ideas, Barry.
So make sure that you have enough money in case you need to stop somewhere overnight, okay? Because you need to be responsible. Make sure you've got a map of where you are going to, because this is important. Here's Matt now for this.
That's right. The map, GPS, and follow the signs. Make sure you're following the right road signs, because if you don't know where you're going to from town to town, how do you expect to make it to your destination?
Because remember, you've got to know what travel's out there. If you're on your own and you don't know what you're doing out there, okay, then you are completely stuck thinking, I wish I did my homework before I left Broken Hill or Narrowena or Dune Way. Here's Matt now.
Yes, unfortunately, those people that don't do the proper planning, Barry, they end up being death statistics because they haven't done the proper homework. They paid the ultimate price.
Because what? Because another important thing, guys, is having enough of everything to fix your car, like your spark plugs, your fan belts, your center points, and your coil. You've got to have a spare coil, because if you break down and you've got the one and only coil, that is it. You have completely had it. Here's my offsider.
That's it, Barry. That's why we recommend getting your car serviced before you go. That way gives you the best opportunity to make it at your destination in one piece.
Because, like, how will you know where the next servo is? It could be 312 kilometers away. Here's my offsider.
Yes, that would be a long way to walk, Barry, and I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. That's what happens when you go bush. You've got to be prepared. Otherwise, you shouldn't be on the road.
Because if you don't know what dangers that lie before you then retrace your steps, and even before you go, look at a map of where you are going. Here's Matt now.
Yes, proper preparation there, Barry, again. You need to do your prep work and all will be safe.
Well, it's coming up to 11:30 here on this Friday morning. 27 minutes past 11 here. And we've still got plenty more to come up on today's show. Episode 278 is coming up after the lunch break. And just before we conclude this episode, remember, guys, you have to be your own mechanic, your food supplier, and make sure you've got enough of everything, like your food, your water, your insect propellant, everything. Because like I just said a couple of moments ago, there are no friendly service stations or mechanics. So if you break down and you can't get the car started, that's it. You've had it. Here's Matt now to close episode 277 with that.
Exactly right, guys. That's it. You're a goner. So please take our advice and what Barry has said here on the show today. Be prepared, and we wish you safe travels on the holiday season.
And we will be back later on with episode 278, and we will recap all what we've said. And remember, phone manners too. So before we do conclude episode 277 and go for a break, remember, order some spare parts for the car, like your coil, your fan belt, and another trick, put some methyl in your petrol tank.
No, I don't know about that one.
Well, what you do is you get a cup of methyl after you put petrol in, and put it in your tank with the petrol. And that way the petrol will go through to the carburetor.
Okay. I didn't know that, Barry. That's a fun fact for our viewers.
So we hope that you've enjoyed episode 277, but stay with Matt and I, because episode 228 is coming up straight after we have our lunch. So we will be back later on, but we will leave you now to watch some more of Jack Abram's adventures and find out what really did happen to him on that trip. So we will leave you now, and we will be back later on to bring you episode 278. So don't go away. The next episode will be coming up straight after lunch. So stay with us. You've been watching episode 277, episode 278, coming up very shortly. Here's Matt to tell you about it.
Thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, go and have a lunch break, have a drinks break, and we'll be back with you shortly for a new episode. So thanks.
So So we will recap all of this and phone matters and the pine makers. So still plenty of positive stuff coming up on today's show, the next show. And don't go away, there's still plenty more to come up, or coming up, I should say. The time is coming up to 28 minutes to midday, and it's Friday, the 17th of September. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to episode 278. And I'm Barry Fear. Welcome along to it. Well, this afternoon we're going to open episode 278 with the trusty pie maker. Now, today I had a mouth-watering pie again, and this time it was a leftover bolognese sauce from last evening. And waste not, want not, guys. Joining me now in the commentary position is Matt Brown. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Barry.
And now, here's Matt to open the show with the trusty pie maker.
Well, the trusty pie maker, guys. As you know, this is definitely in the top 10 of Barry's lunchtime foods. And today we got out the trusty pie maker. And as Barry said, he had the old bolognese leftovers from last night. So we didn't use phyllo pastry because Barry wanted to be nice and healthy. So we got some nice wholemeal bread, cut off the crust, flattened it out, pushed it all into the pie maker, put in the old bolognese sauce, whack the lid on, which is just another piece of bread, and close it. Voila! That's it. And it was, how was it, Barry, when it came out?
It was golden, like a pie which you would buy in a shop for $5. So, for goodness sake, guys, don't buy a nasty, cheap $6.50 pie. Please don't do that. Here's Matt now for this.
That's it, when you can make those nice homemade pies yourself. It didn't even use any butter either, did we, Barry?
No.
And it came out crispy on top, so crispy brown, and even the bottom, so it wasn't even soggy. So it was a perfect pie for Barry.
So, before I get on to the rest of today's show, I will be wrapping up my videos very soon now. The reason I'm saying this now so that you're all in the loop is because we may be back at our services and I may be going back, but I don't know when it will happen, so I'm putting you in the spotlight now in case something doesn't rise. So I will continue the spring series next month too, or the first few weeks of next month, and then I will call it a day. Here's Matt now.
That's it. So until the time that Barry has to move going north to the old banana vendors territory, the cane toads, until then we've got plenty of awesome shows this side of the border. Happy to be in the blues camp, and Barry's got his blues jumper on just as a coincidence today as well. Good old blues. But Barry, it's been awesome.
So I don't know when I will be heading off north yet, but I will certainly let you viewers know. Now, the reason why I'm calling it a day in October is because I want to slowly prepare myself for the best and worst, but I want to prepare for the best. Here's Matt now.
Well, Barry, the last, 6 weeks that I've been at the studio with you, I've only seen a nice, cool, calm and collective friend and client. So, Barry, I don't have to worry about you ever getting your knickers in a knot because you're a very laid back, chilled out man.
And so I will be finishing the wraps after the Labor Day long weekend simply because I want to prepare for whatever happens. Here's Matt now.
And so that means we're going to have an end date in October. Is that correct, Barry?
The end date in October will be after the long weekend.
Okay. So the old daylight saving, you're getting prepared to go north from there on.
Well, I don't know the date, but I will keep you posted on that.
Nice one.
So there's the news.
Scoop.
Well, the pie maker was absolutely sensational. We had leftover salmon bake on Wednesday and leftover bolognese today. Here's Matt to tell you.
That's it. With the trusty pie maker's been in the kitchen area for a while, Barry, and we pulled it out, dusted it out, cleaned it, and you've had a good crack at it this week with your pies. So maybe even if one of the staff are kind enough to make you a sweet pie, we can maybe even do an apple pie or something for next week's show, if you fancy it, of course, my friend.
So today on the show we covered just about everything from phone manners to getting prepared for a trip, and we're going to recap on that now. Okay, so preparing for a trip, ladies and gentlemen, like we said, okay, you have to be prepared, you have to be responsible. Here's Matt now.
That's right. You're going on a big trip. We're not even talking about hopping on a plane. We're talking about Australia, which has very harsh conditions, a lot of different weathers that we cop, and terrain in regards to tarmac, rocks, dirt, all kinds of things, wet weather. So you've got to be prepared before you leave your house. Number one rule.
And also, look at the weather forecast before you leave home as well, because it could be raining and thunderstorms wherever you're going. Here's Matt now.
Exactly right, Barry. You want to know what weather it is, because if you're going bush and there's been rain before you or rain while you're there, it can be quite hard for your car to get through. Let's just hope our viewers are in a four-wheel drive if they're going off-road, Barry.
So like we saw in the film, Jack had his wheels taken off. Here's Matt now to tell you about it.
Oh, yes, okay. So Jack was in an old Mitsubishi Sigma station wagon, and he pulled off the side of the road to show us the tyre that it had punctured, but it punctured on the actual wall of the tyre, not the actual tread. And the reason for that, was he explained, was that the tyres weren't pumped up hard enough, because when there's lots of dirt and lots of rocks, it's the actual wall that's making contact a lot of the time, hitting the big rocks. It's not just the tread.
So as I explained at the end of the video, at the YouTube clip, Jack had to take all his wheels off because he had broken down. Here's Matt now.
Yes, so he broke down and decided he would use those tyres because they were no good to him, and he was in the middle of nowhere. So he decided he'd burn the inner tubes in the morning and burn the tyre in the night, in the afternoon, sorry, at sunset, and that was to alert the cattleman, the owner of the property, that there would be that there's something wasn't right.
Because and also recapping, make sure that you've got enough water and that it is not contaminated. Here's my offsider.
That's right. You want some water when you're out there. Food is not as important. You want your water. That will keep you alive. Whereas your food, that's not as important.
And don't overexert yourself, because places like Birdsville, ladies and gentlemen, that sauna is like a dog's jaw. Here's my offsider.
Yes, I remember an old commercial. I'm sure you do, Barry. The old days where the painters come out with his lid and he cracks his egg and he's cooking it under the Aussie saying, well, that can be your skin, and if you're not protecting your face with a big hat and some sunscreen or long shirts or whatever you've got, that'll save your skin from getting fried.
So make sure you go to a place that has a phone so you can call for help if you do get car trouble. Here's my offsider.
That's right. So being prepared is to have all your equipment for the possibilities that can go wrong. First aid kit, jerry cans, water, and to let your friends and loved ones know where you're starting from and where you're going to. And if there's a police station and that around, is to let them know where you're going through.
So get an alert card from the police station and guide. So if you're travelling from Maree, which is in South Australia, that's where Jack started his trip. And also find somewhere to stop for the night too, because that's what he did. Here's my offsider.
That's right. The old stop, revive, survive is a safety tip for you and your family or whoever you're travelling with, and also for the other drivers on the road. You don't want to be fatigued because it only takes a split second to have a micro sleep, and that can be very dangerous, isn't that right, Barry?
Well, the last thing you don't want to have happen is if you're on your own and you fall asleep behind the wheel, you can go, eek, bang. Here's my offsider.
That's right, Barry. It's over before your holidays even started. So we definitely advise to be properly prepared. Have a good night's sleep before you jump in the car, and safe travels.
So safe travels. Be careful of your fuel, okay? Don't be stingy with it. Have enough to get to your destination, and have enough spare parts with you, and always have someone else share the driving if you are tired. Here's Matt now.
That's a good point. If you've got someone else, share the driving. It's better to have two alert people than one alert person that's driving. And if you're going real bush, you know you're going to have no cell service, make sure you take with you a satellite phone.
Well, now, before we came back on air to present episode 278. We wrote to the Prime Minister via email and asked him a few questions. Here's Matt now for this.
Yeah, that's been a productive day, Barry. So Barry wrote to the Prime Minister, which is great. Asked him a few questions, and that was submitted. And then Barry got an email back, didn't you, mate?
And then I'm hoping to hear from the Prime Minister soon, within the next couple of days or so. So a very productive day indeed. Well, it is coming to the end of episode 277/78. Before I do go, just an announcement that sometime next month I will be calling it a day from the daily episodes, only because I need to wind down a bit and slowly get ready for the next chapter in my life. Here's Matt now.
Yes, Barry, it's been a good time down here in Arawina for you, but as you said, it's time to move on, and you're going up to the old cane toads territory up there in Brisbane, Barry, which I'm sure the house up there is going to love to have you up there. Any news on that? Did you get a chance to speak to your housemate on Monday?
Well, I will find out about that after we come off there.
Brilliant. Okay.
And just before we do go, I'd like to take the opportunity of thanking you viewers that have watched the episodes we brought to you, and like I said the other day, technology has come a long way since I've started doing this. I've had a ball bringing this to you, but the shows are far from over yet. Still got a lot to cover before I say that's a wrap. Here's Matt now.
That's it, Barry. We've got plenty of awesome shows to bring to our viewers, plenty of great topics to discuss, and with each new day, Barry, there's always something new to talk about, so looking forward to it.
So here's the closing message now. Our closing message today: if you are ever going on a trip and you're stuck somewhere and you haven't got help, well, you will have to strip your tires off and do what the fellow did. Here's Matt now.
Yes, that's so we strenuously advise that you do some proper preparation before you leave to go bush, because without this is pretty much what's going to save your life. It's life or death, literally, Gary.
Because it's a disaster waiting to happen.
That's it.
Because like you could be traveling along and something goes bang, and then you pull over and then you suddenly realize, son, I should have got the car serviced beforehand. So our closing advice that we'd like to give to you today on the show is: don't leave home unprepared. Don't leave home with half the tools in your box. Come prepared, know what to do, have sufficient water and sufficient petrol, because remember, guys, there are no friendly service stations out at Birdsville, or before you get to Birdsville. Okay? 'Cause you could have a crappy car which had half of things not working in it. Here's Matt now.
Yes, that's. I didn't know that about Birdsville, Barry, about the petrol, but yes, thanks for bringing our viewers up to speed on it.
So, always know where you are going to lose radio frequency, because if you go to another state and you are trying to get another radio station, always find out when to change your radio frequency in the car. Here's my outsider.
Yeah, having a good CB and a good aerial, that was also.
And the music on the radio too. So if it's an AM radio, be prepared for that.
Okay, I didn't know about that, Barry. You know a bit more about this than me, my friend.
So that's the message we'd like to close the show with today. And there will be no show on Tuesday due to training. There might be a show in the afternoon, but there will be no show on Tuesday morning, but certainly a show in the afternoon, but it will be a quickie. But Wednesday we'll be back on full plot again and bringing you the trusty pie maker. And the number that we would like to close the show with, like always, 000. Please do not ring that number unless you've got an emergency. So 000 with my flying guys. Okay. Ring 000 only if you've got an emergency. But don't be a fool with 000 and put someone's life at risk and lifeline. And now here's Mac with his closing messages about those two numbers before we call it a day.
That's right, Barry. The 000 number, guys. Please keep that free. People like Barry, or could even be one of our viewers that needs that one day. So please, no crank calls, no ringing them up, asking stupid questions. Leave that line free for 000, and big thanks to our operators there. For other people, if you're struggling with whatever in life, Lifeline's there for you, so you never ever have to feel alone. That's 131114. They'll be more than happy to take your call. So thanks for another awesome week, Barry. Top stuff.
And episode 279 and 80 coming up next week. So before I do go, once again, thank you to the viewers that have tuned in during this lockdown. But like I said, I don't know when I'll be heading up north, but I'm pretty sure it will be very soon, hopefully. So on that note, the time has just gone 3 o'clock. We've had a fantastic day bringing the show to you. This has been episode 277 and 278, and we look forward to your company on Tuesday afternoon. You take care, and thanks for watching episode 277, 78. So, from Matt Brown and I now, have a great weekend, and we will talk to you on Tuesday. And the case numbers they've gone up again, but we won't worry about that. So you have a great weekend, everybody, and I will catch you on Monday with Georgia for episode 278 triple, and then episode 279 and 80 on Tuesday afternoon. So until then, everybody, have a great weekend. Take care, and thanks for watching this Friday. And here's Matt to say his farewell now.
Thanks, Barry, for a cracking week again, mate. For all the good topics that we discussed, for the fun we have, and look forward to seeing our viewers next week for another fun, jam-packed week, brother.
And we are nearly on the home stretch of this lockdown, so
That's it.
hang in there, guys. We are almost at the finish line, so hang in there, and the padlock will be open and we'll be able to break loose. But for the moment, from me, Barry Fair and Matt Brown, have a great weekend, and we will see you again next time around for another edition of the Daily Wraps. Until then, have a great weekend. Thanks for watching the show. Bye bye.